Welcome to Chapter 6 of Sentiment and Social Media Management for the School of Computing at University Utara, Malaysia. Today, we are analyzing the architecture of enterprise defense. Imagine a scenario where a university's official social media account is compromised by a threat actor. Within minutes, sensitive student data is leaked directly to a public timeline, and viral misinformation spreads across the student body before the IT department even receives an alert. Defending against that specific vulnerability requires social media risk management, or SMRM. This is a systematic process of identifying, assessing, and responding to digital threats. It is a core cybersecurity discipline, requiring the exact same rigor as protecting a physical server room. This diagram outlines the foundational vocabulary we use to build that defense. On the operational side, we have information security, which is the active protection of organizational data from unauthorized access. On the policy side, we have compliance, which ensures all those security activities adhere to strict legal and regulatory requirements. Modern social media platforms completely bypass traditional enterprise network perimeters. A vulnerability on a public application exposes the entire organization to immediate, unmitigated operational disruption. Failing to implement SMRM leaves your infrastructure defenseless on its most visible front. This circular diagram illustrates the 6-stage social media risk management framework. Managing any risk requires a structured lifecycle, starting with the baseline requirement to systematically identify potential digital threats and then assess their actual severity. To understand that assessment phase, we look at this 3x3 risk matrix. Here, we translate abstract threats into actionable math by evaluating two variables: the likelihood that a risk will occur, multiplied by the impact it will have on the organization if it does. If we plot a hacked corporate account on this grid, we see a high likelihood of attack combined with a high impact of data loss. By mapping it directly into this top right cell, the matrix mathematically calculates its maximum threat severity, designating it an immediate priority risk. Once a risk is quantified, organizations move to stages 3 and 4. They implement specific security controls, like strict access policies, to mitigate the risk, and deploy analytics tools to continuously monitor public sentiment and detect incoming anomalies. The final 2 stages govern the reaction to an active threat. Incident response executes a predefined plan during a live crisis, such as communicating with stakeholders and recovering accounts. Afterward, the post-mortem data is fed into continuous improvement to patch vulnerabilities for the next cycle. Relying on human intuition during a viral cyber attack guarantees failure. Maintaining operational control requires this rigid, cyclical framework. This organizational chart visualizes governance. Governance is the structural foundation of policies, rules, and ethical considerations that dictate who legally and operationally owns organizational risk. Specific compliance requirements dictate distinct responsibilities across these departments. For example, data protection laws require the legal department to manage regulatory compliance, while the IT security team is assigned the domain of physical and network security protection. To enforce those governance policies, we use processes. This flowchart outlines a standard 5-step incident response process, showing the exact operational workflow used when a security breach is detected. The initial steps require technical teams to trigger a detection of an anomaly, perform an immediate analysis to determine the severity and impact, and then execute a response to contain the threat and correct misinformation. Think about the integration here for a moment. If an unauthorized login triggers the detection phase, which specific team from our governance chart is authorized to lock the system down? Well-defined processes are completely useless without clear governance. If technical teams lack explicitly defined authority, they will hesitate to shut down compromised systems during a live attack, costing the organization critical recovery time. To execute these processes at scale, computer scientists build systems. This architecture diagram represents the technological enforcement layer, where infrastructure is deployed to execute SMRM policies automatically. At the network edge, access control is fortified using security systems. Implementing multi-factor authentication prevents brute force account takeovers by requiring secondary verification before any process can begin. Once inside, the volume of data requires artificial intelligence. Natural language processing and machine learning models automatically parse raw text streams, mathematically classifying sentiment threats in real time. Finally, dashboard systems aggregate all of those AI sentiment alerts and security anomalies. This provides human analysts with a single real-time visualization pane to monitor engagement metrics and risk indicators simultaneously. Human teams cannot manually monitor millions of daily social interactions. Deploying automated AI and security systems is the only viable way to achieve scale in modern risk management. This summary visualizes the integrated defense mechanism. The internal triangle of governance, processes, and systems operates within the 6-stage management framework. Tracing a single threat, an anomaly is detected by an automated system, routed through an incident response process, and managed under corporate governance. For the computing students at UUM, understanding this ecosystem is critical. As future IT leaders, you will be responsible for architecting these resilient, interconnected environments that transcend standalone application development. By bridging human policy with automated technology, you ensure organizational compliance, protect enterprise infrastructure, and preserve public trust in the digital age.